Welcome back to Big Red Rant, everybody. After the Huskers survive an absolute nail biter versus Cincy. Not what, admittedly, either of us thought was going to happen. We both had the Huskers winning decently big. Archie Wilson looked incredible. I know that's not the most important thing in the world, but I think for the Huskers, it's big. Gary, I think the defense looked pretty darn good. I think that they were left out to dry a little bit and had to help the offense out that wasn't really getting it done. But in the end, they figured out a way to win. Malcolm Hartzog with the incredible interception really was a talented catch. It wasn't just gifted to him. You and I are coming down on this win a little bit differently, though. I'm on the optimistic side. I'm grateful that we won a close 3-point game, something that has been the bane of our existence in years past. But I'm going to let Will Compton do the talking for me. I don't mean to pit you against him, but I came across this tweet and I wanted to read it to you because I think it kind of explains the difference between where we're at. And I'm not saying you're panicking. He says the word panicking, but I'm not saying that you are. His tweet reads, "People panicking about week 1 football looking like week 1 football. Forgetting about how we've rarely been on the winning side of one-score games in the fourth quarter. And usually find ways to lose them. Not seeing that the defense showed up big when we needed to play in both halves. Not seeing that we have playmakers at each position on offense. Not seeing that we have a kicker that can bomb it from 50. Not seeing that we have a punter that can flip the field and drop him inside the 10. Yes, there's shit to correct, but we haven't even scratched the surface of the potential that this team has." Your thoughts?
Yeah, we can get into the positives and negatives of the game. There's for sure positives. I'm not completely doom and gloom on everything. My big issue is mainly Holgerson, but both of the coordinators. I feel like they did everything except put players in the right position to win, and the players won in spite of the play calling by the coordinators. But to like what you just read with what Compton said, all of those things are 100% true. You won a close game. You own time of possession. You won the turnover battle. You had at least 3 plays that I can think of off the top of my head that should have been turnovers that didn't go to turnovers. You really only had 2 kind of critical, maybe 3. It would have been 3 if Hartzog, which I'll get back to the Hartzog, I'll circle back to Hartzog, but 3 counting the Hartzog penalty. Usually you have multiple ones. Other than one kickoff that went out of bounds, special teams didn't shoot you in the foot. All of those things went your way, and you beat a Cincinnati team that ended the season last year on a 5 or 6 game losing streak and is ready to fire their coach by 3 points on a roster and a team and new coordinators that we have heard and I've bought in, especially on the Holgerson and the offensive side with the receivers, the new improved offensive line, another year of Raiola, how we're going to compete in the Big Ten, be a bubble to for sure playoff team, depending on who you talk to. I'm not saying I was in that camp, but more on the bubble. And you come out and this is your first impression on the season. Like it's not good. You can take good out of it, but there's nothing good long game looking futuristically down the road. You're going to have more talented teams, better coaches, more athletic quarterbacks, better running backs, better offensive lines, even better defenses. I mean, I don't know what you do when you play a defense better than Cincinnati's. If you go instead of like, we're going to get crazy and air it out for 4 yards a pop, but now this defense good, so we're going to only air it out for 2 yards a target when we're trying to throw. Like it's not good enough from a coaching perspective. Nebraska fans need to pick a side at this point. Like we can't go into every season as this is our year. We're finally going to be back. We've made it. We're going to be in the playoff or real close to being in the playoff. And then when they shit down their leg and barely win, hey man, we didn't lose a close game. You know, some things happen where in years past we would have lost that game. That's fine. Then be in that camp. Be in that camp that I'll be happy if we make a bowl, but I don't expect anything other than that because we're a team that tries not to shoot ourselves in the foot and not lose close score games, or be in the camp of all that bullshit's in the past. We finally got the players at the right positions. We've got guys that have been here long enough. We got the right coaches in the right spot. We've gone through the years of the rebuild and the development and the grind to where now we can start picking fruit. And then when things don't look like you're that team, go, well, you know, we're better than we were during the Frost era. Like Which one is it, man? Like, are we content with being a mediocre team that beats a team that's in a bad spot? This isn't Cincinnati that made the playoffs 3 years ago, right? This is a drastically different team. Are we content with a field goal win against this team before we even sniff the Big Ten? Or are we a team that we beat up on teams we're supposed to beat up on? We play up to teams that are better than us level in win or lose in close fashion, but we're consistent and we look like we know what the hell we're doing. There wasn't anything about that game from a broad span or like a look down the road or kind of try to frame the future that made me feel confident going into any game other than these next 2 weeks. I don't know about you. I know you're happier with the win, and I don't want to come across like I'm not happy with the win, and I also want to come across like it's all negative. I feel like Emmett especially was put in a lot of situations where, in spite of the bad play calling, mainly, hey, keep running it up the middle, where their guy that's going to be probably a second round draft pick that is absolutely destroying whoever and sometimes both of whoever they put on him and stopping the run by himself. And now they're bringing linebackers behind him. Just keep running into that and make something happen. And he was kind of making some things happen here and there. I mean, he's making guys miss in the backfield, sometimes two at a time before he forces his way through a little crevice. Wasn't even a gap for him to run through, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And unfortunately, I can't never thought I'd be having this conversation, but it's primarily coaching that needs to be held accountable for this almost loss. The Hartzog thing, 100% saved the game with that interception, or at least sealed it, right? But like we've talked before, we can go across the board with different players. I don't mean to just pick on Hartzog, but since you brought him up, I'll use him as an example. Very good in the zone, very suspect in man-to-man. The play before that, when he was in man-to-man, he held a guy that gave them a free first down, stopped the clock, and put them in position to where they were just outside of the end zone, where they could take a shot at the end zone. It wasn't just outside the end zone, but you know what I'm saying. Then the next play, he's in zone. He runs across. It wasn't his man-to-man guy and gets an interception. So it's like, yes, it looks like he's the hero, but if the next play they throw somewhere else where he's not covering zone and score a touchdown, now it's like, and then Hartzog does that, just like everybody's mad at Pritchard because he had the hold at the goal line, but you still had second down inside the 6 or 7, whatever it was, and you couldn't punch it in. So, I mean, it worked out. It was fortunate for Hartzog, and then he did go on his own to make a play. It wasn't like it was a gift, but you're also not in that position if you don't have a holding play when they're trying to, march as much as they can and stop the clock, which you helped them do both on that one play. So, but I mean, those are mistakes players are going to make during games. Nobody's going to play a perfect game, and I don't even expect the coaches to coach a perfect game. But when a running back who's not the most athletic person we've ever seen, he's a good runner. He is athletic. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but we'll see better. We'll see flashier, more explosive, more athletic quarterbacks. When he's killing you with a scramble and you never put a spy out, or you're gouging them with your running back running left and right, and you insist on running him up the middle and it's not working. When they're bringing their safeties up because they're never being tested deep or even intermediate route wise, and you're still playing into their hand, trying to throw everything underneath, dump offs to Lindenmeyer, dump offs to Emmett Johnson. If the one read, the key or Hunter isn't there, you're not going anywhere. You didn't see Barney going on post. You didn't see anybody on the sides on different flyers or go routes, testing the safeties or seeing how well the corners could cover, whether they were playing a quarter zone or whether they're a man, whatever it was. Like, just the lack of, I don't even want to say creativity, but like willing to attack weaknesses or test weaknesses or counter what they were doing to us by the coordinators, man. Super disappointing. Like the most down I've ever felt after a win. And I know I don't want that to sound like it wasn't good enough, but it's like I'm not looking at it as this individual game. I'm looking at it as the precursor for the entire season. And I don't think, just like I said before the game, if you lose that game, doesn't mean your season's ruined. It shows you got some shit to work on. And if you're able and willing to make adjustments and fix things and work on things, you're fine. Look at Notre Dame last year. But I felt like the players played really well, man. Like from the very vanilla both sides of the ball play calling that we saw, the players did what they could, even though a lot of times play calling, I felt, put them at a disadvantage from the start. I thought they still did well. I don't have any issues really with any of the play that we saw from the guys, but I really expected more adjustment at halftime. I expected the offense to come out and look a lot different and really open it up. And it was just, from a play calling standpoint, super disappointing.
It's obvious that this team has to get better. I think that they can. I'm not saying I think that they will, but I think that there is time. And I like to give a little bit of leniency for the first game of the season, kind of like getting the cobwebs off. And specifically, I think it is also the play calling. The play calling was weird. I'm just hopeful that it was a matter of choice to be very vanilla, thinking that you could get out of there with an easy, cheesy win without having to show too much. And then they just got caught up. Only time will tell. Tell us in the comments what you thought of that win. Are you happy with it? Did you expect more? Are you upset that you didn't get a bigger beatdown? Akron is next on the schedule. We'll have a preview out for that as soon as we can. Thank you guys for hanging out. Until next time, go Big Red.